Well, is there a new sheriff in town? Mew. Mew has been taking the TCG by storm lately, and I don't think we can underestimate the impact that this little character has had on a lot of prices, both singles and sealed products alike. Now, when we think of like mascots for the TCG, of course, the first one that comes to mind is Pikachu, and Pikachu chase cards, as well as a lot of course, Pikachu promos, demand incredibly strong prices. And then we think, the next one is the Fire Lizard. Charizard's held up the sets, or held up lots of sets across a lot of generations. And another one, of course, that comes to mind is Umbreon, particularly with the release of Prismatic Evolutions. And of course, talking about Prismatic Evolutions, we've now got some stock, Prismatic Evolutions, a couple of Elite Trainer boxes grabbed. But, Umbreon from Evolving Skies, of course, and back in Neo era, and now Prismatic Evolutions. It's going to be interesting to see what price he holds there. They're the sort of three cards that come to mind, or three Pokemon that come to mind when you think about strong chase cards and chase cards that demand huge prices. But I don't think we can underestimate Mew. Mew has been sneaking along under the radar almost. And this brings about the question, like, what actually makes a card expensive? And therefore, what actually makes a sealed product expensive? Because generally speaking, over time in particular, the sealed product's value, and we're talking, whether that's an Elite Trainer box or most cases for sealed investors, I recommend booster boxes. The booster box's price has a direct correlation to the hits inside the set. And then it's like, what makes a hit? Like, what makes a chase card strong? And there's heaps of reasons for this. Is it the artist? Is it how nice the artwork comes across? Is it the Pokemon that sits inside there? Is it how difficult it is to grade in a PSA 10, so its conversion rate from raw to 10? Is it to do with the FOMO and just that herd mentality and everyone, pushing up the price? Is it to do with, social media or YouTubers or, celebrity influence? There's so many factors that add into, the value of a Pokemon card, and therefore the total value of a set, and therefore the inherent value of the sealed product. But if we're talking about just the Pokemon, we've got to remember that has a pretty big impact. Like if we have a special illustration rare, sorry, Bellsprout. If we have a special illustration rare Bellsprout in a set and we're comparing it to a special illustration rare Umbreon, straight out of the bat, full well, even if the artwork's terrible on the Umbreon and the artwork's phenomenal on the Bellsprout, the Umbreon's still going to hold a stronger value because it's a more fan favorite Pokemon. So let's get into the impact that Mew is having on the TCG at the moment. Before we do that, I just wanted to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, which is the Shiny app. If you don't have it, I'll urge you to download it. I'll have the link in the description for that. If you do have it, please update it because there's some new cool features on it. We're up to nearly 50,000 downloads on the app now. It's a place where you can put your whole single and sealed collection in one place. Constant update to pricing every day from a range of sources, including TCG players. So pricing is going to be as accurate as it possibly can be. You can track every card and every sealed product and your total collection to see what sort of percentage gains you're making and what profit you're making. You can filter by set now. You can filter by the highest price card on sealed product inside the set. And new one, there's up-to-date price tracking. So you just hold your finger on the price there and you can see what the price was 5 days ago, or 10 days ago, or 2 months ago. So it's a cool app. Again, link will be in the description for it. Right, Mew. Let's talk about it. So a couple of Mew cards, and look, lots of cards are taking off. I'm not saying it's only Mew cards that are taking off, but I think Mew has been sneaking under the radar a little bit, and the prices that some of his cards are receiving and the impact he's having on some of the sealed products can't really go unnoticed. So let's talk about a few. The Fusion Strike Mew to start off with, the VMAX. It is up to $140 raw. That's pumped. I remember when Fusion Strike, that was like a $30 card. And it's now a $140 card. And yes, I know, there's other cards that are bringing out Fusion Strike. Of course, the two biggest hits, Gengar and Espeon. But this Mew VMAX and the Mew V, which I'll talk about in a second, can't go underrated. And the PSA 10 price is like getting up there. Its pop isn't all that great. 4,400, I think its PSA pop is. Conversion rate's good, 66%, meaning, print quality was actually somewhat okay back in Sword and Shield era compared to Scarlet and Violet. And look, the booster box is nearly going for $500 US. And again, we can't underestimate the power that, of course, Gengar and Espeon had on that. But you've got two Mews inside that. And look at the Elite Trainer box, for argument's sake. Who's on it? Mew. Who's on the cover of the booster box? Mew. It is a Ghost/Psychic set, and Mewtwo were two of the OG Psychic cards, and of course Gengar being the OG Ghost card. These things can't go underestimated to how much they're pushing up the value. It's that feeling, and that's why I wanted to get into those reasons at the start. You know, what actually makes a card expensive? And therefore, if the cards are expensive, and that has a direct correlation to the booster box, when we ask what actually makes a booster box expensive, other than the fact that, like I said, you know, the more they get open, they become a collectible in their own right. Essentially, the value of it then comes down to what's sitting inside it. And just to, I suppose, put a nail into this point, if we look back to some expensive booster boxes, and I'm going to go back to, let's go all the way back to EX era, where there was a fair few fan favorite Mew cards out in the EX era. And the biggest one, of course, is the Gold Star Mewtwo. The Gold Star Mew. So if we go all the way back to Dragon Frontiers, and yes, there's also a Gold Star Charizard inside it, but the Mew has had a higher raw recent sale price than what the Charizard has. And PSA 10 Gold Star Mews go for an absolute mint if you can possibly find one up for sale. At the moment though, the booster box is commanding about a $40,000 price sealed in Dragon Frontiers, which just shows us the impact of having strong chase cards inside a set can really, and fan favorite Pokemon can really push up booster boxes. To give you another example from the EX era, Holland Phantoms. Yes, there's no gold stars inside there because you've got the Gyarados and the Mewtwo, but you do have a bunch of Mews inside there. There's the Ultra Rare Mew, the Secret Rare Mew, there's Reverse Holo Mews, and all of them command a massive price. I think, you know, the Ultra Rare and the Secret Rare Mew are behind the Gold Stars and the next most expensive cards in the whole set. And again, booster box, $25,000 for another one, another Psychic base. Holland Phantoms is predominantly a Psychic base set. And if we fast forward into the future, let's go back to Unified Minds, which again has Mew on the cover. $800 a booster box already, Unified Minds up to. $400 for an Elite Trainer box. Again, Mew and Mewtwo on the cover. And the biggest chase card inside the set is Mewtwo and Mew, the rainbow copy, the rainbow rare, $190. So I just wanted to hammer home the point that yes, Umbreon's big, yes, Charizard's big, yes, Pikachu's big, but don't underestimate the power that's Mew's having at the moment. And speaking of Mew, like I said, we'll have a look at the V as well from Fusion Strike. $59 it's up to. I remember that was like a $18 card way back when this set was not long after it had been released. So look at the impact that Mew is having on Fusion Strike booster boxes. Now the next one, the big one from Scarlet and Violet when it comes to Mew, and that is Paldean Fates Bubble Mew. Anyone that gets, or any card that gets a nickname, you know, Moonbryon, Sunzard from the Charizard from 151, Bubble Mew from Paldean Fates, any card that gets a nickname, you know it's going to be good news. This is up to $286 raw. There's 6,775 PSA 10 cards in existence, and we've just had confirmed sales north of $1,000 in a PSA 10. This is massive. Mew is absolutely pumping at the moment. Another one, even, remember this, the Ancient Mew promo, remember going in to watch the first movie and getting this handed to you sealed? $50 raw now, even though there was just millions of these, or probably tens of millions of these handed out to cinema goers way back when. And even like inside the Ultra Premium collection for 151, look at the promo, which of course was in the main set in the Japanese 151 side, but look at what the promo is doing for 151 UPC, and this is a beautiful card. $29 raw, and in a PSA 10, again, commanding really, really big dollars. And look, we're in a massive bull market at the moment. I'm not saying we're not. I'm not saying there's not other cards performing really well or not other Pokemon performing really well, because there certainly is. But I think Mew is getting its time in the sun at the moment. It's absolutely pumping. It's adding to the weight and the increase in price of Fusion Strike booster boxes massively. Paldean Fates, literally here in Australia, it was only probably 4 or 5 months ago. Was it Kmart or Target? One of the two had Paldean Fates Elite Trainer boxes on like flash sale for 49 Australian dollars. And now, what's that work out to be? Probably like $32 US. Now you can't buy them for anywhere near close to that. I think the cheapest you might find online is like north of 120 Australian dollars, which is like north of 80 US. So again, it is led mostly, that set is led mostly by the Bubble Mew. Yes, there's a nice Charizard in there, and yes, there's a nice Gardevoir, but the main chase card people are going for inside that is that Bubble Mew, and that's well and truly rocketed up the price of Paldean Fate's Elite Trainer boxes. So to summarize this whole video, there's multiple factors that influence the price of singles inside a set. That will give us a total list of chase cards, which will also give us a total set value for the set. That will then have a direct correlation and impact on the booster box price or the Elite Trainer box price, or ultimately the whole sealed product, which as an investor, they're things we probably really need to drill down into. And one of the main things that has an impact on that, like I was saying in that Bellsprout to Umbreon comparison, is what Pokemon is getting the love there. And in this case, I think Mew is adding a lot of weight to a lot of sets. I'm Michael, this is Poke Oz. Catch everyone next time.